Where do you think Apostle will get 10 million? So Apostle, you have money like this.
Hallelujah!
Now, hello everyone and welcome to the second part of this conversation. If you have not watched the first part of this, I think you might have to click on the description section to watch the first part of this conversation about Apostle Suleman, Stella Korkos, Halima. Right now, we are focusing on these three main people at the moment. So if you are not catching up, please make sure you catch up. I titled this video, The Blackmail of Apostle Johnson Suleman. The reason why I'm titling this video The Blackmail of Suleman is because you have to understand what blackmail itself means for you to get the concept of how I'm saying this. For you to blackmail someone, you need to have something implicating about the person that is true for a fact, which the person is afraid of it coming out, but you use that as a means to extort money from him. Do you understand? Why am I saying this? Stella, I want you to listen to yourself, Korkus. Because this is what you said about the business of blogging, which you do not like yourself. When you were talking to Dardy Freeze.
I get my adverts, it's straight, it's clean. Maybe in the beginning when I started blogging, I made one or two mistakes, like people bringing story to me. When I do it, they will now tell me that the person that you wrote about wants you to bring it down and wants to give you money in place for it. I fell into that one or twice, and I saw that it was a wrong path to go. So I redirected my steps. But if you come into blogging and you want to live a luxurious life from blogging, you need to go that dirty road, which is not good, because sooner or later they're going to get you arrested and you're going to fall into where you're not supposed to be. Like I said before, blogging is a hobby which you combine to something else. If you come into blogging thinking you're going to build a house or you're going to buy a house, you're going to pay school fees, you're going to live the good life, then you are coming with a twisted thought. That means you need to go that road.
Now it begins to make sense for you to understand the blogging business. That is why Being Real George will always tell you 100 times. And I'll have to tell you this openly. When I started running this story and started analyzing it, people reached out to me to want to give me access to Apostle Suleman. I am the one that said no. People reach out to me to tell me, offer me money. How much will it cost me to take down some videos? I say I am not interested. Because your integrity as a blogger really matters a lot. Even though I'm not like technically a blogger, I analyze stories that are already out there. If you understand this part 2 of what Stella Korkos is saying would begin to make sense to you, because Apostle Suleman is becoming a victim of his own circumstance he put himself. Why? Because if your hands are clean, nobody is going to be having any reason to blackmail you. But for a fact, he understands that this is the pattern. So Oga go always pay, they go always bill you. What am I trying to make you understand right now? The game is changing. But let's focus on the facts right now, because as if I'm digressing. Part 2 of what Stella Korkos posted, she said here, look at the first paragraph. She said here, Halima and I gossiped about Suleman well, and we also talked about actress Yabojo, and she told me how Yabojo was stalking her on social media. Yabojo, how far? How is you? I told her that I would have to call him to confirm some things in the story, and she told me not to do so, that he would offer me money, and we laughed about it. And even she's now confessing. She said, I told her if he offered me that I would share it with her, and again we laughed about it. Stella Korkos, you were ready. Now you talk am yourself, not with me talk am. That if he offered you money, you were going to collect it and you will share it with her. And you laughed about it. Are you trying to make it look like a joke, or you were not serious with it? Because she is telling you that, hey, don't tell him that we talked about this. It's a gossip, right? But if he gets to know that you know this amount of information about him, as a blogger, you have attention. About 100 and something people are following you on Instagram. You have a page. What do I always tell you guys? Attention itself is currency. Let me tell you, George right here is pre-exposed to some information. Number one is I will not even talk to the subject. Number two is that you that is telling me, I already tell you, say, if you want this story itself to be out, you share it on your platform and tag me. And then I'll add volume to it. I'm the volume adder. So I don't have any reason to be looking for people's audience. No. Why? But if you want to talk to the main subject to confirm the story, whether it's real or not, anyone that knows that the story itself is real and is true, even though the person might lie to you, would also want a way for you not to talk about that story and might want to settle you or pay you off. Because if you yourself that is receiving this story has some facts that makes it confirmable, you become an asset to the person that you own this story about. But of course, they have a history with regards to the fact that even though she more of like worked for Apostle Suleman before. But moving on here, she said, after some days, Halima asked me if I was close to Apostle, and I told her that I could contact him to verify anything, and she begged me to settle two of them. So at this time right now, both of them had an issue, or they had something that had to be settled. Now, this was before now, because based on the chat message she released, which we are going to be looking at much later, since around April this year, or more April, so we don't the man matter on the car since. Hey God, Suleman, we are very sorry for what is happening to you right now. But you see, that which you fear the most has come upon you. That is if you will. I know, say you get thick skin, sir. 100 million videos cannot bring you down. Nobody wants to bring you down. But you know that you can do the needful and this whole thing could be off. She now said here, she said he has still not settled her, but was buying houses and cars for other actresses, and that she could not find closure like this. Ha! Yeah, God. It now begins to make sense why many actresses are keeping quiet about this. So, see, if you are watching me and you are part of those actresses, akono how far, how far, makankono potangwa nerie ya, angoya vam, ataya vam. Going on here, she said, she asked me point blank to settle them, and I told her I would pass the message across. In fact, I promised her I would settle them, but told her that the apostle seems to have an event going on, and that after that I would organize for them to talk. She was excited and happy. So apparently, Apostle Suleman and Halima might have been in some form of talking terms, but maybe fell out. You know, just like what happened with Suleman and Faith or something. You know, the ones you have, you know, when he's angry, I'll make you disappear. You know, that kind of thing. So now she wants some kind of closure between both of them, and she wants to go through the person of Stella Korokos. Now, until they get to start releasing their chat messages, we'll get to understand these things very well. Because right now, listen, I posted this recently on Twitter, and it's actually a fact. When you're suddenly not in talking terms with someone, don't expect them to say anything good about you. Whatever they will say, what's going to make them look good and make you look like a devil. It's a fact. But moving on right here, she said, I heard Halima was asking for money, that her parents both died in a car accident, and I quickly reached out to her to ask her if it was true, why she did not post it. She said it was only her dad that died and that her mom was in the hospital and she needed money. The story was bogus, but I sympathized with her and moved. Halima told me that she had fibroid and nearly died, but that God saved her and we praised God's name. Now, talking about this issue of fibroid, let me go back to the story of Daniela, because Daniela says that she doesn't have a child. But in her interview with the person of Stella, Daniela said that she went, the time she traveled abroad, which people were claiming that she went to have a baby, that she herself was having fibroid. When I look at the pattern, I'm like, how come the Daniela will be talking about fibroid? And Halima is also talking about fibroid. Now, Halima's own right now about the whole fibroid thing again, she came and changed the story that, it was something that was growing in her, kiniko, blah, blah, blah. You see this? I don't know if you are seeing the pattern, but you could tell me what you think in the comment section at this point. Moving on right here, she said, I know Halima to be someone who has a hot temper. And once she shouted on me on the phone, I advised her and told her she needed to change and that was why everyone was avoiding her. She told me that since she birthed her son, which son?
Hola!
That she had changed. She meant pregnancy and motherhood had changed her. Days after that conversation, Halima wanted me to help her ask the apostle for 10 million to sort out some things and her business. Halima, you posted, if you are watching this, Halima, I hope you are recovering. You posted in your story when someone was saying that you were doing this for money and all that you had businesses you were running, you have about 3 businesses or whatever. How come you are asking for 10 million? 10 million from where do you think apostle get this money from? Don't you know that right now it's not really working like that when it comes, the ministry is doing like this when it comes to money matter because of all these stories and all that, especially where maybe the money used to come from abroad and all that. It's not like that. The oil is not flowing like that. Where do you think he's going to get 10 million? You guys watching me now, think about it now. Where do you think apostle will get 10 million? So apostle, you have money like this. No wonder you can do and undo, and you are, you're a guy on your own. 10 million, for her to ask you 10 million, that means she knows that you can bring out this money. If she can be talking about outreaches like this, 10 million, Halima, fear God. Halima, I hope you are getting fine. She now said here, she cried and begged me, and being someone who loved to help people, I contacted the apostle and told him what Halima wanted. I watched out for his reaction as per what Halima told me, that she was his boo. His reaction was epic. Now listen. This particular reaction right now makes a whole lot of sense. Let's look at it. Let's look at it right now. Apostle Suleman would constantly live in fear considering these issues about him and women. Any woman that has had an affair with Apostle Johnson Suleman and has any form of evidence of their conversations and all that would always have a leverage on him if they want to milk him. So Apostle Suleman has 2 options. Either for him to keep paying, considering this person's attention, if there's someone popular, or for him to do the undoable, which I don't even want to conceive. Because for him to be saying I'll make people disappear this and that, anything can happen, we don't know. But the way Apostle Suleman replied her, according to Stella.co, she said, he told me that Halima was up to something and that I should be careful. I told him that whatever impression he had of Halima was wrong and that she was a changed person. I begged and pleaded and challenged his position as a man of God, and he said because it was Xmas. Xmas when? That means even last December. Let me not assume it is December 2021. Because if we are talking about December 2021, it was still around this December that the exposition about him started from his houseboy that lived with him for years. Okay, so even in the midst of this, Suleman, I can imagine the troubles you are going through with all this. Me, if I want to even put myself in your shoes, I can't. You're already dealing with your houseboy, Amos, that left and then got a lot of secrets about you, including that of Daniela Okeke and all that. Now you in the midst of that, you are still dealing with this issue with Halima wanting 10 million. Oga don't drop money tire. Oga, the money we don't drop, I get respect for you, but tight and offering you never finish. It always flow every month, so you know say sure banger, money go come. Hey, my God. Continuing right here, a time to give Christmas, considering he said it was Xmas, a time to give, and because I presented my case well, he would give her what he had and not the 10 million naira. Before that conversation ended, he told me Halima was up to something, and this sending her money caused problems, and if this sending her money caused problems, he would blame me. I told him that Halima wanted him to call her so that both of them would settle, and he warned me and told me he would block me if I ever told him that again. I did not tell Halima that, but told her that he said he would call her after his conference. Yeah, Chineke, God. At this point, God, now for your hand, this matter deal. Because this is now, as they're exposing themselves and talking about this thing now, I dey inside. God, you know, say I not dey inside. I dey help my people here understand what they go on based on what here they see. If you look at this right now, I will know where Halima's aggression is coming from, or might be coming from towards Korokos with this particular. Why would the person of Stella be playing this intermediary role arbitrarily between Apostle Suleman and Halima if she's not getting any form of cut logically? Just like when Prof X got into Stephanie Otobo with the person of Suleman. Think about it. Everyone is assuming that Prof X has been paid some way somehow by Apostle Johnson Suleman with respect to the person of Stephanie Otobo and all that. Now, I don't know for a fact if he paid him because I have not seen any proof. But if you have any proof, hallelujah, only both of them know if such a thing happened. But for you to be playing this role, this intermediary role between two people like this, you know, say normally, on a normal level, something must drop for you now. You get it? But moving on here, she reminded me so much of the settlement that I began to wonder if there was more to it. I mean, her excitement to want to settle with him and his outright refusal that it was a setup she was looking for. And it is very, very true, because Halima herself, if you have not watched my previous video, Halima, even though she did talk true, both of them happened, but she's mixing it with some lies. I have looked at it, some things do not add up. If you like, believe me. If you like, don't believe me. That is my opinion. Some things do not add up logically. You get? So at this point right now, she'll be looking for that, because if they establish a communication, guess what? She would record the conversation and it still becomes a tangible evidence. Right now, Halima is talking about going to court. What does she have about Apostle Suleman that she wants to take to court? Think about that for a moment. I don't know if you understand. In our last live stream, we were looking at the message that was sent purportedly by Halima's mother to Apostle Johnson Suleman, talking about how she went to go and look for Apostle Suleman, and talking about 3 years ago. Kaka Libra. I am just hoping that this particular Xmas period, that's because Stella has not given us dates, is not as at last year, because it's going to be very, very traumatizing for me to even think of what that man is going through, even though he's going to be showing Buga on the outside, say nothing do me. But moving on right here, a week later, he sent me 2.5 million, and I sent the money to Halima, and she was full of thanks. Evidence will be posted. Stella, give us the evidence, let us analyze. If you are saying the truth, let us know. See me, I don't release song right now. We moved on, and I did not hear from Halima for some weeks. Next thing, she contacted me and told me she wanted the apostle to give her 20 million and I should tell him. Halima. 10 million then give you how many percent? 2.5 million. Now you want 20 million. If Halima, if you open your mouth to ask this amount of money, mommy, could you be acting all these things we are looking at with regards to your illness? Could it be an act? Even if it is real, it's just like when we are looking at the person of Amos. How Amos, after going out to collecting money and then money finished, when Amos came back to Nigeria, Amos was still going back to look for money from Apostle Suleman. The same Amos that said that the money is, you cannot do anything with the money is devilish, the money is this and the money is this, you cannot, the money if his money enter your hand, you cannot do anything, material, substantial with it. Just like when we were looking at the late conversation between Daniela Okeke and Suleman, where she was complaining in the conversation about, she doesn't have anything, and Suleman was saying that already built house for you, kiniko. We have looked at it before. If you have not looked at it before, it's there in the description section. So right now, it begins to make sense to me. 2.5 million, you still come and you're asking for 20 million. That means before you ask for 10 million, they gave you 2.5. Now, if you ask for 20 million, they will give you 5 million. Since you are beginning to understand the mathematical arithmetic of how Apostle Suleman's brain works, I let her know that I do not contact this man all the time to avoid insult, and reminded her that she only just collected some. Her countenance changed and I sensed trouble. She told me not to worry and we ended it. But I was upset that she was trying to use me to milk the man. Apostle man billing. I don't know whether they're not okay they bill you. I don't know how many people will get the bill you right now. But sir, see. I know there's going to be a continuous flow. Maybe all this mighty turn around when we don't hear. Now to go gather money, I've been to, because the billing go there too much. Yeah, God. Your billing there too much, you. Pastors, you go pay them. Those, I don't know whether they pay your workers for church self, because we are going to look at the palace situation later. I don't know. Billing too much. I suspected she had a lot of evidence against him and wanted to trade it for money, but I guess she went about it the wrong way. This is what I call blackmailing. Halima, if you are watching me right now, was your plan all along to blackmail that man? Leave it. Apostle Suleman has his dirty side. Oh, no, two of us actually they watch me. Nobody like say he be saint. Me, they do my job here analysis. Whether I did diabolic or not, that one on Asabi, I know the reason that level. But this one, madam, what did they ask for money for? If the same person maybe is diabolically, allegedly, presumably, they don't change your name, Apostle. They don't change your name to Apostle Nakademos, Apronso. Hey God, social media, make una have mercy now. You know, say na human being be this. Let's just temper mercy with justice. Ask him, let us temper mercy with justice. Even me now, my English is becoming. Hi God, God help me. If this person is diabolic and all that with you, why would you still be collecting money from the same person to, is it to treat yourself or for what? Because according to your conversation here with Stella, she said that it's for your businesses. Remember I said this when this whole thing came out, I was like, why is Halima coming out? Is it because of money? Watch my previous video if you never watched them before you talk what you don't know for comments. My people, reason now. But moving on right here, she said, after she told me not to worry, I knew she would seek another alternative and left it at that. The day that list came out, I called Halima and told her I saw her handwork, and she pretended not to know what I meant, but I knew what I was saying. I messaged her on Instagram and said that it was That's her story that was finally out, and she went on cursing. She went on a cursing spree and told me I was evil for not supporting her, but him. See, if both of them had talked about Apostle Suleman and gossiped about him well, Stella would be able to detect some things that are in that Jesus Lover story that are coming from Halima, because she has heard the same thing from Halima. Joke. Women supporting women, where are you? Nollywood, where on a day? Because I don't hear some name for this Nollywood matter. We don't hear some name. Halima don't post some people where they don't talk with her. Nollywood now supposed to get to her.
Oniduro mi ẹ ṣeun. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun púpọ̀. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun púpọ̀. Ó jẹ́ ènìyàn ló dúró mi wọ́n ti mọ̀ sí ẹ̀kọ́. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun. Ọlọ́run o. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun púpọ̀. Ó jẹ́ ènìyàn ló dúró mi wọ́n ti máa ṣìrìkú. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun. Kùtù ọmọ tí mo jọmọ Jésù. Wo tí mo jọmọ Dádì. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun púpọ̀. Ó jẹ́ ènìyàn ló dúró mi wọ́n ti mọ̀ ṣe é. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun.